January, but it does deserve a bit of a disclaimer. More than 1,000 of those cases came from an 11-day stretch earlier this month that, due to a reporting delay, were actually rolled into today's number. But even with that, Betsy, that still leaves us with more than 6,000 new cases reported in just the last 24 hours.
And Jay, we also saw 242 new hospitalizations in Ohio in the last 24-hour reporting period. That's nearly 100 patients above our rolling 21-day average.
And as we've seen over the past 2 weeks, COVID is now becoming a real problem at some of our local schools.
Yeah, that's a big deal for a lot of families. And with hundreds of kids now quarantining in Wadsworth, the district is going to be reversing the mask policy. Lindsay Buckingham explains.
The sound of students playing here at Franklin Elementary School, precious. But the reality is that nearly 65% of kids here are in quarantine.
Our team worked to identify anybody that was less than 6 feet, more than 15 minutes in a 24-hour period of time.
More than 500 students and staff members are currently quarantined in the district. Masks were optional at the start of its school year, but on Monday, things changed.
The board decided to go ahead and implement a requirement for face coverings for the next 3 weeks.
Superintendent Dr. Andy Hill says the district saw around 700 students quarantine last year. Compare that to the past 2 weeks. He says the district's decision was necessary.
We just felt like right now the across the board was needed just to try to get this under control and get these numbers down.
Still, Hill says the district is working on getting back to a safe place when parents get to make the call on masks.
Our board is very serious about parental choice and parents having the ability to choose on these type of things.
Local epidemiologist and pediatrician Dr. Amy Edwards says there is no choice.
Masks have been shown again and again and again and again and again to reduce the spread of COVID. I'm so tired of people coming after the science as if there's some doubt about it.
And Wadsworth, not the only school district seeing large quarantine numbers. Coventry Middle School in Summit County has 152 kids at home right now. And Betsy, as far as the mask mandate goes here in Wadsworth, the board meets again on September 20th. They say they'll be reviewing data and case numbers with both the Ohio Department of Health and Medina Department of Health, and then from there they'll make a decision on whether that mandate stays or goes.
Well, I know that, some school districts have different policies for each building in the district, and it kind of gets a little bit crazy after that. But there in Wadsworth, they said the quarantining is hinging on 6 feet of distance, 15 minutes of exposure in a 24-hour period. So that's a little bit as into the intuition that they have going into that.
Yep. That's absolutely right. They say they're working with the departments of health, and that's how they determine those quarantine policies.
Okay, again, that'll be different for everybody's different districts. Lindsay, still lots more to come on this. Thanks for bringing us up to date.
Yeah, Betsy, we stay with COVID as we move on now on your feed at 5. Mask up, social distance, and get vaccinated. These are messages that we have heard over and over again, all to help stop the spread of COVID-19.
Well, and now there's another message from the head of the CDC. Unvaccinated people should not travel over the Labor Day weekend. Laura Queso here is joining us now with more on that.
Yeah, so the CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, is basically saying things are trending in the wrong direction. We are battling a surge in hospitalizations due to the Delta variant. And again, like we've been saying, mostly unvaccinated people. The transmission is so high, and people need to take their own risks into consideration if they want to travel. That's what she's saying. Another recommendation, those of you who are vaccinated should wear a mask. In fact, Cuyahoga County leaders today echoing the same message as we head into this big weekend, the holiday weekend. Right now, 53% of Cuyahoga County residents are fully vaccinated, but that does not include anyone 11 and under, and the Delta variant is surging. A UH COVID expert and scientist told me today, we are looking at case numbers like we had in December and January. He told me it's frightening. The state is seeing an increase in new cases among kids 17 and under, and as of yesterday, accounting for almost 28% of all cases so far this week.
We are seeing more patients steady. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen more adults, young adults especially, We've seen some children, certainly with COVID. We've seen a lot of children with RSV. We've seen some children with both RSV and COVID. And that certainly is higher now than it was if you looked back about 7 weeks ago.
Coming up at 6, we'll hear more from the Cuyahoga County Health Commissioner about where we stand right now as far as cases, plus what he's saying about the holiday weekend. So there's a lot here.
We had a number a couple of months ago that it was around 98% of all the state's hospitalizations had not been vaccinated. So again, those that are getting sick from this haven't been vaccinated yet. Is it still true that those who are being intubated are unvaccinated? Are we still seeing that trend?
Yeah, so the UH doctor that just spoke, who I spoke with today, he said, and he intubates people, he said it's exclusively non-vaccinated people.
Oh.
Wow.
That he intubates, exclusively non-vaccinated.
It provides a layer of protection, and that's why some are saying, why the mask and the vaccine? The vaccine is one layer of protection, the mask is another, and it's all about making us as safe as we can be.
You can look at it kind of like an insurance policy. That's what someone said.
That is a good way of looking at it.
Stuck with me.
Yeah.
And of course, Cuyahoga County, encouraging people to wear the mask. We have the air show this weekend. There's going to be thousands of people. Even though you're still outside, you're still going to be possibly in close proximity. So
asking you to do your part.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks.
Well, new information coming to light this afternoon about the mysterious high school football team we told you about yesterday, Bishop Sycamore. The team, claiming to be based in Ohio, lost in front of an ESPN audience Sunday, final score 58-0, to a team from Florida. Now, we can tell you they have fired their head coach. Roy Johnson was fired for not keeping track of injuries and for misleading a marketing team. Today, a former player of Bishop Sycamore told his story to Kevin Landers of our sister station in Columbus.
Aaron Boyd recalls this pitch he got from coaches to leave Cincinnati and play high school football in Columbus.
When we first moved in, they told us that we didn't have our facility built yet, so we were staying in a hotel in Delaware, Ohio. So we were staying there. We all thought we were just waiting for our dorms.
No dorms were built because this was an online school, and there was no money or food, he said. So the then 15-year-old says he and other players did what they had to do.
Dine and dash, like take food from grocery stores, all that.
Like many players his age, he dreamed of playing against IMG, a high school football powerhouse that was featured last weekend on ESPN against the newest version of Christians of Faith Academy, now called Bishop Sycamore. But his year, he never played against IMG.
It's because we wasn't a real school.
And he said there was little emphasis on education.
We wasn't going to school. I wanted to actually come and go to a real school. Like, it got to a point, like, we wasn't going to school, and, like, I thought it was cool at first. And then, like, it was like, man, like, what am I doing? Like,
as for kids looking at going to the school now, Boyd has this message.
Don't go, because it's a waste of time.
Wow. So Landers was scheduled to interview the actual director of the school, but says Andre Peterson never showed up for the scheduled Zoom call. Now, former head coach Roy Johnson, who we told you was fired, actually has a warrant, Betsy, out for his arrest. He's facing a civil lawsuit for alleged fraud. We've also learned today that at least 5 future opponents of Bishop Sycamore, including St. Ed's, which was scheduled for Friday, September 24th, have canceled their scheduled games. And Betsy, when you put all of this together, I would be stunned if Bishop Sycamore ever plays another football game. I don't see how that can possibly happen.
I don't know how it could happen either. And of course, stuck in the middle of all this is these kids. And that's, they want to play football. It's not a perfect scenario. They have dreams like everybody else does. They just want to get on the big stage, show what they can do.
Sure.
And man, this has just been a smackdown on
them. And in the case of the player that was interviewed, he was sold a bill of goods that didn't exist.
Right.
Now imagine you're 14, 15, 16 years old. You have dreams of playing at a Division I college football program. And someone calls you and says, we're building a powerhouse here. It's going to be a nationally ranked power. And you get there and there's no dorms, there's no food. These kids were stealing meals. Criminal.
Unfortunate.
We'll continue to follow the story wherever it goes.
Let's pivot now. We have some good news to tell everybody about. There may be a little bit of bad news that's kind of polished over. Let's talk about the auto show. The bad news, it's not going to be happening at the Huntington Convention Center in December. But the good news is, because the auto show is going back to the IX Center at the end of February. The announcement comes on the same day that the Industrial Realty Group announced it plans to reopen that gigantic building that sat mostly dormant during the pandemic. Jay, late this afternoon, we also learned that the Home and Garden Show will return in February, too. Now, keep in mind, the IX Center is one of the largest exhibition spaces in the entire country, 1 million square feet of exhibition space. Now, the people who say, we have the convention center, just keep it at the convention center. 1 million square feet of exhibition space at the IX Center. 250,000 square feet.
It's hard to compete with that.
Of exhibition space at the convention center. Then there's more with conference rooms and breakouts and stuff like that. But you need that big room to get those big events.
Yeah, I think it's good news for the local economy, just to get people out spending money. The hope is the boat show will be back at the IX Center. I'm sure we'll have news on that as that happens. But I think it's a good step forward for sure. Next, we're going behind the menu. And if you love waffles, you will not want to miss a very special twist a Sandusky brunch spot has come up with.
Then more new additions to Netflix, when you can binge watch Seinfeld, and just how much money it's costing the streaming giant to have it on their platform. Ahead in Pop Break.
Yeah, Jerry needs a little bit more cash.
A little yada, 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 if you will.
Hey, it's time for our first hello of the show to Matt Wintz. Hi, Matt.
Hey, guys. If you need exhibition space, we got about 100 square feet here in the Weather Center.
I don't even think we have that.
Well, probably not, but someone can put up a poster in that space. Your outdoor dining forecast doesn't get any better than this, Northeast Ohio. Wonderful breeze coming off the lake, bringing in drier air. We've got mostly sunny skies, temps in the 70s. Wait till you see some of these morning lows the next couple days. Buckle up. We'll be back with that forecast next. So how many ways are there to do waffles?
tens of thousands for sure, probably more. It's a pretty standard breakfast staple, but I found a place in Sandusky that somehow found a way to take waffles to the next level. Let's go behind the menu at Wake Up and Waffle. It's hard enough to perfect any recipe, but try doing it during a pandemic while you're opening a brand new restaurant, and the task becomes even more difficult.
You never know if you don't take the chance.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. But despite pandemic uncertainty, there was never really any waffling for Christy Ward and Lauren Kruger, the sisters behind Wake Up and Waffle in Sandusky. They had a vision, and they went out to make it happen.
When we first opened, we planned ahead financially, and we knew that it was going to be very difficult because we didn't qualify for any of the SBA loans. We were too new.
The idea for Lauren and Christy to join forces was originally born in Cleveland, but the two decided to turn their sights westward when it came time to choose a location.
Actually, this opportunity came up here in Sandusky, and in the summer times I'd come up and visit Lauren, and I love the area. So once we came and visited a couple sites, it was pretty much a no-brainer. It was like, let's just do it, why not? Wake Up and Waffle has a traditional brunch menu with a bit of a twist. They make sandwiches and more using Liege waffles, which are made from a brioche dough studded with Belgian sugar pearls, instead of the traditional pancake batter you would typically see. And since opening last September, it's quickly proven to be super popular with locals and tourists as well. Have you noticed, what kind of growth have you noticed from the time that you started to now?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's more than a 360.
Well, we went from opening just me and you working to about 12 employees.
Oh yeah, I used to wait. I used to work up front. She used to work in the back. We used to take care of everything ourselves.
Really?
Oh yeah, all winter.
How long did that go on?
Till probably April.
So the better part of 6 months.
Yeah.
And now, with support from family and locals alike, 1 year in, the sisters say business is booming.
They were like, we love that you're here. We love the concept. We're going to do whatever we can to keep you here.
Our waffles and the menu is just so unique. We didn't want to open up a breakfast place and be like, the place down the street. We wanted to be something different.
And Christy and Lauren have plans for the distant and the not so distant future, hoping to expand with another location at some point.
We are actually just starting to talk about it, and the east side is definitely on our radars.
But for now, this is one sweet spot that's well worth the drive to the west. Okay, so how I made it through the first 50 plus years of my life without knowing about the magic that is sugar pearls.
Sugar pearls.
Have you ever
I know that is right up your alley.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so they're like little pods of sugar. I think they're imported from Belgium or something.
Yeah.
And you saw there, they just throw them in the dough.
Just a little something, something.
And when you take, that's exactly what it is. It's a little something, and you bite into it, and it's crunchy, and it's sweet, and I crave these things, Betsy.
All right, I'm going to stop you there
Okay.
because I'm going to ask the question that everybody wants me to ask.
Yes.
Where in the route to Cedar Point is this place? Because
So it's
everybody has
downtown.
to angle for the breakfast spot on the way to the park.
Yeah, it's out of the way if you're going to the park.
That's
'cause
okay.
It's located downtown, but I will tell you, it's 2 or 3 miles from the
Yeah.
park. Worth the wait.
Wow.
Worth going out of the way. Now, speaking of wait, every Saturday and Sunday morning,
Yeah.
there is a long line to
Don't
get in
plan on
there.
quickie
And a
in
lot
and
of
out.
times when I'm waiting in that line, I'll tell people that are coming in and say, no, I don't want to wait. I'll say, don't leave. You'll thank me later. Do not leave. It is worth the wait. And they always do. It's tremendous.
Man,
It is so good.
how did you scam this segment? That's
Now
what I
I
want
want
to know.
waffles right now.
Yeah, you're supposed that should be a part of the segment.
Sure.
You're going to go out and spend time in the community. You have to bring the food back for
Listen,
everybody.
Sandusky's,
Matt,
it's an hour away. They
agree.
wouldn't be
it's okay.
hot anymore.
It's okay.
All right.
Sugar pearls, Jay, it doesn't matter.
The
Sugar
magic
pearls.
just carries over.
Those
It
will
is.
keep for years. Those
It's
will
like
keep
little
through a nuclear
elves in the
explosion.
waffles.
Right.
Your weather word today is delicious.
Yeah, we can work that into the forecast.
Good luck with that with weather.
I think it'll be easy. Have you seen the 7-day?
It's
Actually,
tasty.
we put it together, so you have seen it, Betsy. But yeah, let's talk September 1st. I can't believe it's September 1st. Someone messaged me, said, why didn't you put Labor Day on the 7-day? This was Sunday night. It's because I didn't realize it was Labor Day already coming up. Right, it snuck up on us for sure. So yeah, Labor Day weekend coming up. September, let's get to know the month, right? Today, our average high 80, average low 62. By the end of the month, 70 and 52. So we're starting to lose a little tick there on terms of the high temperatures. This is actually our rainiest month, and Betsy and I were talking about this. It's typically because we get the remnants of tropical systems which bring that heavy rainfall. A lot of dry days still in September, and the thing you'll notice is the daylight. We're losing about 2 minutes and 45 seconds per day. By the end of the month, our sunset around 7 o'clock. So enjoy the daylight while we have it. Boy, is it refreshing outside. 70s generally, a little bit cooler out towards the east. That's where we had the clouds and the rain from Ida earlier this morning. But the dry air is here, everybody. And it's only going to get drier from here on out because we've got a real nice air mass off towards the north. Gusty northeast wind bringing that in. Waves on Lake Erie or Helen, 3 to 6 footers out there, and we've got rip current advisories out along the shoreline. Not a good day to swim. So the big deal with the wind, well, here goes Ida, low pressure. You got a high pressure building in. The squeeze plays on, that pressure gradient creating that wind. That's why it's really gotten gusty over the last couple hours. Ida now heading off the east coast. Tornado warnings, as you'd expect on the right quadrant, the front part of that system. They've had numerous tornado warnings, areas of Maryland, even D.C. today. We fall nicely on the map on the backside. You see that northeast flow with the puffy cumulus clouds. That's about it. National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecasts a delicious night out ahead of us as we've got temperatures that'll fall back into the 50s, some lake effect clouds even with that. How about that? Not expecting any rain out of that. Tomorrow morning, we're in the 50s inland, near 60 towards the lake shore. Wall-to-wall sunshine tomorrow. It's just going to be glorious. High temperatures, mid-70s. We are creatures of temperature, right? We just like when it's thermostat settings out there. And look at this, Friday morning, yep, there's still some 40s on the big board, especially those areas mid-Ohio and then out towards northeastern Ohio as well. Morning temperatures, Friday, Saturday to 2 cool spots. Then we're bringing back some moisture as we get on into the weekend. You see that bump in the humidity as well. That will bring some rain chances with it. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, 70s, then we bump up to 80. Not a lot of rain this weekend. Late day chance Saturday, early Sunday. Labor Day looks great, and more rain as we head into next week. We'll be back with more good news after this.
Hi, we're going to be talking about actress Rose McGowan, who is taking aim at Oprah Winfrey on Twitter.
Time now to take a pop break.
Kiara Cotton joins us now. And Kiara, one actress has some choice words for Oprah Winfrey. Wow.
Yeah, actress and activist Rose McGowan is using her Twitter fingers to take aim at the media icon. The 47-year-old took to Twitter calling out Winfrey for being, quote, fake as they come. Posting a picture of Winfrey and disgraced film producer Harvey Weinstein from 2014, McGowan wrote that Oprah is all about supporting sick power structure for personal gain. Prior to McGowan's tweet, Winfrey was trending after clips of an interview with Dolly Parton resurfaced, and fans weren't happy about the questions. To no surprise, Oprah has not yet responded to McGowan. For this next story, grab your Drake's coffee cakes and your Junior Mints. The cult favorite Seinfeld is coming to Netflix, and it cost them a pretty penny. The streaming platform signed a $500 million deal with Sony Pictures to secure the global rights to the series. Seinfeld ran for 9 seasons, but first premiered back in 1989. But soon you can relive the glory days. All 180 episodes of the sitcom will be available October 1st. And here's a scoop on a cool partnership. Tyra Banks is looking for more ways to be on top, and Lionel Richie is no stranger to collaborations. The two have joined forces to launch a brand new ice cream flavor under Banks' Smize Cream. The flavor is called All Night Love, inspired by Richie's classic hit, and features cookie crumble, a salted caramel ribbon, and chocolate-covered fudge heart, mixed in with vanilla ice cream. The sweet and salty treat is available online for $13. Now, I myself am an ice cream connoisseur, but I tend to stick to the basics. Jay and Betsy, do you guys have a favorite flavor or mix-up? I do Cold Stone and I do strawberry ice cream with Kit Kats. But what do you guys do?
Strawberry
that
ice cream with
sounds
Kit
numb.
Kats. I hadn't thought about that one.
I like, I don't know what it's called, but it has the little cheesecake.
Like the
bits
cheesecake
in
bites?
there.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I'm talking about? They're
I
like
do.
little nuggets of cheesecake in your ice cream. So it's like perfection meets perfection blended together, and it's tremendous.
Yeah.
I can tell you mine is not spumoni. That was like the big joke. When I was a kid, my dad would pull the thing out of the freezer. Here's some spumoni. Be like, no.
What is your favorite? Do you have one?
Mint chocolate chip
that's
is
an
like
old standby.
my go-to. And
Yeah.
man, if there's some Girl Scout Thin Mint ice cream out there, it's gone in a hot minute when I get it because it's so delicious.
You can never go wrong with ice cream. It
Trader
fixes
Joe's
everything.
has phenomenal mint chocolate chip ice cream. That's my favorite.
All
Trader
right.
Joe's.
There you go. Here, we'll see you soon.
Sure.
Okay, coming up in the next half hour of What's New, our Leading the Land series continues, shining a light on the race for Cleveland mayor. Coming up, hear what some of the candidates are saying about their plans to help the city recover economically.
Plus, microchips in short supply thanks to COVID, how the car industry is being impacted, and what you need to know if you're in the market for a car, whether it's new or used.
And making a return to the stage, we're going to tell you when you can start buying tickets for over 50 shows this fall coming to Playhouse Square. Details next in Clicking in Cleveland.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And it's time to get you caught up on what's new at 5:30. Less than 2 weeks into the school year, and some districts are dealing with growing COVID cases. In Wadsworth, more than 500 students are now quarantining after 77 COVID cases were confirmed in that district. Before the outbreak, masks were optional. Not anymore. Last night, the board decided to require them moving forward. This is 3 classrooms at Highland Elementary School in Brecksville, Broadview Heights are going virtual until further notice. 3 students tested positive this week. 151 students at Coventry Middle are quarantining.
In Louisiana, residents are in survival mode as they clean up from Hurricane Ida. Lines for gas and grocery stores are stretching for miles. And despite the rain and wind moving out, thousands continue to evacuate to try to find someplace with power. The power companies are scrambling to get electricity back online, but it's going to take weeks to fully bring the power back. Just getting to some of the more remote and hardest hit coastal areas remains a challenge.
Those images just stunning. Big changes were announced for this year's Cleveland Auto Show. It was supposed to take place at the Huntington Convention Center this December. Instead, the team will wait until February so it can return to the IX Center. This morning, Industrial Realty Group announced plans to reopen the center. It sat mostly dormant during the pandemic. In addition to the auto show, the Home and Garden Show also returning to the IX Center in February. I think that's good news. So certainly great news there. We welcome you back to the second half hour of What's New with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford. Every day I feel like I learn something new about you, Betsy Kling. Today I've learned that Betsy cannot consume enough cake.
I love cake.
You have no shut-off button when it comes to cake.
Take the icing out. I don't like the icing, unless it's whipped cream icing. That's the only one I like.
So you just need the plain chocolate. That seems dry.
No, you got to get a good cake.
Good moist
not
cake.
Junk cake.
Yeah.
I mean, there's layers of cake that, there's definite,
You're a connoisseur.
standards to apply. But
okay.
Man, I love cake.
So note to self, Betsy loves chocolate cake with no ice.
Right, and my best friend for years and years hates cake, loves pie. So
that's a big debate.
Yeah.
I'm pie over cake for sure.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you can be friends with Katie, and I'll have all your cake.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our top talker because this is really interesting. If you happen to notice that several makes and models of cars have not been available on car lots, you can think a worldwide shortage of microchips due to COVID.
Yeah, the problem has forced some automakers to slow, or in some cases, halt production altogether, pushing new and used car prices to record highs. Here's January Keaton.
A semiconductor is the material that makes microchips, which can be found in everything from cell phones to cars.
In particular, microprocessors. And microprocessors are essentially the brains of a wide range of electronic devices.
Like cars, which can contain more than 100 microchips, controlling things like engine timing and climate settings. But chips are in short supply, thanks to COVID.
When there's a disruption in the supply chain, in the production of electronic devices for computers, that disruption will also be felt by automobile manufacturers.
The pandemic forced chip suppliers to shut down factories, while all over the world, folks began working and studying from home, buying electronics in droves, which overwhelmed the remaining chip factories. Now, newly vaccinated Americans are looking to buy cars again, but microchips are almost impossible for car makers to get, which is making car buying more difficult.
Currently, we have, believe it or not, just a little over 100 new cars available for all 5 of our stores. Normally this time of year, we would have between 800 and 1,000.
Now, newly vaccinated Americans are looking to buy cars again. But when automakers try to order chips, they're almost impossible to get. This makes demand higher than supply, which is pushing car prices to record highs. According to Kelley Blue Book, the average price for a new car is nearly $43,000, forcing folks to buy used, which has increased the average price of used cars to over $25,000.
Definitely a seller type market. This August would normally be a huge clearance month, and it's more of a normal month.
Toyota, GM, Ford, and Nissan temporarily shutting down some of their factories because they have so few chips to put in their cars. Experts say the chip shortage could continue to affect the car industry until 2024. January Keaton, 3 News.
Yeah, when you go by the car lots, I mean, they're trying to like space things out a little bit. Usually they're
social
packed
distancing
in there. Yeah, and they're like, oh, look at this one. They're parked, different directions than normal. So it's a little weird to see that.
I was shopping for my mother for a new car within the last month, and you would go dealer to dealer to dealer, and at each dealership you would go to, there would be fewer and fewer cars. The inventory, as you said, it's just really diminished, and it absolutely is a good time to sell a used car. So if you have a used car that you can sell that you don't immediately need to replace, you might want to move on that now because the price of the used cars are through the roof. I read an article today that said they expect it to be back to normal in 2023.
Wow.
But they also said, as January mentioned in her piece, that we could still see lingering effects into 2024.
Wow. So that gives you what, a year or two, maybe 3 to save up. That's what I think about. Like, okay, someday I'd like to get another car. So maybe now is the time to kind of start socking stuff away so that when everything comes online and bang, they have inventory and the prices are great.
I love how you think. You're always thinking, how can I get a deal?
I got it. I got cash. Let's roll.
There you go. I think that sounds like a plan. All right, next on What's New, another major university in Ohio is added now to the list of vaccine mandates. We're going to tell you where and how soon students and employees there need to get that shot.
Then reviving our economy here in Cleveland. We're going to be hearing from some mayoral candidates on how they plan to make it happen ahead of the election. And of course, the forecast, man, it's looking good out there today. Here's a look at Matt with weather in a Giphy.
Yeah, I said it different than yesterday. I like that, Betsy. This is how I think we all feel in terms of the drier, more comfortable air that's moving into Northeast Ohio. Bring it on. It'll feel like the miracle on 34th Street here locally. We'll bring that forecast to you next.
Oh, here it is, the day we've all been waiting for. Okay, I will completely admit, got up today, turned off the air conditioning, opened all the windows. Nice. The glorious breeze is blowing through our house and knocking over lamps.
Yeah, yeah, with the doors opening and closing because of the suction.
Whoops.
Yeah, I opened ours up today too to get that stink out that's been in the house for the last 2 weeks. And Betsy, putting River down for a nap today, and of course across the street they're doing construction. So
that's fantastic. Now you get
closed all the windows, turn the AC back on. But anyway, it's one of those nights. And I want to start big picture because we've got a pattern change that's starting to take shape. Last 2 weeks, we've had this giant ridge in place across the eastern half of the country. So we were locked into tropical from here all the way up to the Canadian border. We're going to start to play with the northern periphery of the jet stream. This is the one that drives some of the cooler air south. So I'm going to take you over the next 10 days. You can see how we're starting to dance with some of these green shaded areas. Those are the fall-like air masses. The heat going to get shoved out towards the west, and it's not going to be as hot as it's quite been over the last couple months. As you'd expect, September is going to continue to bring these bouts of cooling. You can see more kind of locking and loading up towards the north. And I was checking some of the snowfall maps. I don't want to bring that up, I know. But up towards North Pole, they're really starting to lay down the snow. That comes into Canada next week. That lays the foundation for what we call winter around here. Morning temperatures, though, let's enjoy this while it lasts. Friday morning 50s. Saturday morning 50s, maybe some 40s in there. Notice how we do warm up a little bit as we get on to the weekend. But looking at some stats, our first 40-degree low temperature in the fall or late summer, as we're talking right now, is September 4th at Hopkins. Last 10 nights, we've been 66 degrees or warmer. So tonight is going to be that first refreshing night in a stretch here. So easing wind tonight. Notice the wind, that little number there. Yeah, it's gusty now, but we really back off tonight as high pressure starts to take control. You got clear skies, calm winds, or lighter winds. That's the recipe for some pretty good cooling. Right now, we're dealing with wind because Ida pulling on out. That's a strong low. Strong high pressure coming in. We're kind of the squeeze play in between. Pretty choppy out on Lake Erie. There are rip current advisories out, so don't go swimming tonight. Even though that lake water is nice right now, 78 degrees here off the shore. You can see the rain from Ida. Lots of problems out in Pennsylvania and coastal New England. For us, clear skies, nice breeze out of the northeast. That will continue tonight. Notice temperatures with your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. Stretch that out. We're in the 50s inland tomorrow morning. Bright sunshine all day tomorrow. It's going to be a beauty. Mid-70s for highs. Low humidity as well, lower than today. And then here's our cool spot Friday morning, perhaps some 40s. Wayne County, areas of northern Tuscarawas County. We'll see, and then we'll deal with a system this weekend, and it doesn't look like much. Bigger picture look at what this looks like. Here's the high pressure Friday on into Saturday. System coming in is going to be weakening as it does so, but we got to keep a shower chance in there Saturday and then again on Sunday as that system heads on out. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, 70s, beauty the next 2 days. There's your weekend system. Labor Day looks good. Then we deal with more rain next week. A very cool pattern setting up next week. So, as you said, pumpkin spice lattes for everybody, Betsy. I think I'm over here. There we go.
You are, sorry. I was just looking at the radar because I saw the tornado warnings there over in eastern Pennsylvania. My sister lives near Philadelphia, and I think she's under a tornado warning right now.
Yeah, Delmarva
so, Mom,
Peninsula's
if you're watching, don't worry. I'm sure she's fine. I'll text her during the break.
If she wasn't worried before, she is now.
Sorry. All right, Matt, thanks.
All right, time now to see what's clicking in Cleveland. Digital anchor Stephanie Haney out this week, so we welcome Kiara Cotton back to the program. Kiara, take it away.
Hello to you, Jay. Today, the University of Toledo announced that all students and employees will need to be vaccinated against COVID-19. This applies to everyone on campus, even those working remotely full-time, if they want to participate in on-campus activities. That deadline is November 15th for people getting a vaccine that requires 2 shots. They must have at least one of those doses by October 15th. The university is also requiring students to get a flu vaccine once that's available in the fall, with a deadline of November 1st for proof of that vaccine. For a full updated list of vaccine and mask mandates inside our local schools, text the word mask to 216-344-3300 and we'll send you an updated list right to your phone. And good news for people who love plays. Playhouse Square announced today that tickets for more than 50 shows will go on sale soon. Mark your calendars for next Friday, September 10th at 10 a.m. That's when shows like Pretty Woman the Musical, Ain't Too Proud, and To Kill a Mockingbird go on sale, just to name a few. We have a full list of shows coming to the iconic theater district right now on WKYC.com. And comic book fans, rejoice and get ready for November. A new Marvel exhibit is set to open at the Center of Science and Industry, COSI for short, in Columbus. The exhibit, being dubbed Marvel Universe Superheroes, will feature more than 300 artifacts. It all kicks off on November 26th and runs through May 30th. Guys, organizers are saying this is set to be one of the most exciting and groundbreaking exhibits the museum has ever hosted.
I love COSI, and I love comic books, so that sounds like a date.
Yeah, who doesn't, right?
It's going to be really cool.
For sure.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing.
Appreciate it, Kiara.
When we return, our next part of our series, Leading the Land. Hear what Cleveland mayoral candidates plan to do to get our economy back on its feet and how they feel about the renovation plans for Progressive Field.
Then, this little boy just loves what he is listening to. You're going to love his reaction when he hears a violin for the first time. It's ahead in our Show Us Something Good.
This has been really fascinating to see and hear. Our Leading the Land series spotlights Cleveland's upcoming mayoral race, asking direct questions to the candidates about the area's top concerns.
Sarah Shookman and Mark Namath pushed candidates on their plans to help the city recover economically.
Along with how to spend $500 million of COVID relief aid, closing the digital divide, and renovating Progressive Field.
What's the first thing you're going to do as mayor
to help the city recover from the pandemic?
And if you look at who has really been hurt by COVID, it's been our restaurant operators, street level retail, hospitalities industry. We need to make sure through using American Recovery Act dollars that we support that base of the economy.
I don't think we can talk in terms of a quote recovery from the pandemic, because it's quite possible that we may have this challenge of a COVID virus or variants of it with us for a long time.
Well, we have a moonshot moment and opportunity right now with the relief fund we're getting from President Biden, over $511 million. You know, if I'm mayor, I want to leverage that investment to a couple billion. To make sure that we can have the capital we need to better invest in our neighborhoods.
I take that $500 million that we have and I put it into giving it to work with small businesses. Small businesses are the lifeline of our community.
You know, Mark, you're my favorite, man.
Yeah, everybody says that about me, so somebody wants something.
The first thing I would do, if half of the $511 million is left over, would be to, number one, help small businesses, make sure that they are stable in our community. I was able to just recently bring home $350 million to help clean up our vacant and contaminated properties all throughout the city of Cleveland. I would love to create job hubs on those sites and attract businesses.
What else would be your priority with that $500 million?
I still live in Mount Pleasant, but the people in West Park know what's best for West Park. It's not for me to dictate to West Park what's good for West Park. I need to listen to the people in West Park.
We will increase affordable housing here in our city. The next thing is we want to have better technology in regards of city services. The city should not take months for a simple business permit, right? The city right now hasn't been good for residents, nor has it been good for businesses.
So broadband is going to be a place where we start.
We want to make sure that we use the surplus funds and some of the American Rescue Act money for protecting our neighborhoods.
Obviously, the digital divide is a major issue. And, you know, this council leadership and mayor missed an opportunity nearly 5 years ago by not taking action and swift action to eradicate the digital divide.
Do you support public funding for the proposed renovation of Progressive Field?
Why or why not?
Oh, yeah, I definitely do. We own it.
I think that it is critical that we keep the Guardians in the city of Cleveland. Progressive Field has been very good for the city of Cleveland financially.
Well, I haven't seen the agreement. You know, I am the quintessential Cleveland Indians fan. You may not know this, but in 1964, I was first runner-up in the Cleveland Indians Bat Boy contest.
Yes, I would support that proposal. If you look at the economic benefit that we will get from the investment in the Guardians field, that's about $3.2 billion.
Well, it is a great economic and civic asset. The public has not been involved in these discussions yet. Even city council found out at the last minute. And that just screams to me as a lack of transparency.
Well, wait a minute. I want to go back to this, okay? Right now, the lease is a black box. We don't know what's in it.
Fascinating. Tonight, we take a look at the lighter side of the candidates as they talk about their favorite things in Cleveland. And you can hear the full interviews by visiting WKYC.com.
It's time for our Worth the Watch now, and this golden retriever isn't afraid to dig deep. His favorite ball. Oh, right in there. Okay, so obviously the owner's like, here's your ball, and then hides it, and the dog all in right after that ball down in the couch. I can tell you, we had a dog that would like dig in the couch.
Yeah.
And eventually get the cushions moved, and you know, it was free for all down there.
They know it's down there.
Cheesy puffs and stuff that were left down in there, and it was free snack as well as the toy.
I love the way it lunges up in the air. I have two Goldens. That's the way they go into snowbanks.
I think they call that prunking.
Is that what it's called?
Prunking.
Whatever it's called, I like it. And I know how important a ball is to a golden retriever.
The hunt.
That's their whole life. Yes. Don't go anywhere. This video is precious. A young boy and music to his ears. You'll want to see it. It's our Show Us Something Good next.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, a labor of love. The work being put into restoring a local African-American history museum and how you can help. And it's pop quiz time. On this day in 1995, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened right here in Cleveland on the shores of Lake Erie. However, it didn't open to the general public until the following day. So we're asking, how much money did the city of Cleveland put toward building that museum? Was it $42 million, $65 million, or $87 million? We'll have the answer when we come back. All right, before the break, we asked how much money the city of Cleveland kicked in for the building of the Rock Hall. Jay, any guesses?
I tend to split the difference on these. I go for the middle. I'm going to say 65.
You must have done really well in your ACTs or your SATs. Fill in the bubble, right? Just go for the middle one. I haven't answered B in a while, so we're going to go with it. $65 million, how much the city kicked in. We did beat out cities like San Francisco, Memphis, and Chicago.
I'm glad we did.
Such a treasure.
All right, we wrap up What's New with our Show Us Something Good. It's always one of my favorite segments in the show, but this one's really powerful. It's that sweet moment that sparks love in the heart of a young child. Watch this and enjoy it. That's my favorite part, Bets.
Stop it.
This young boy's mom, Rachel, put this video on Instagram. It has nearly 1.5 million likes. Her son hearing a violin for the first time. And when he hugs that violinist's leg, it gets dusty in here.
Oh, it's so sweet and innocent.
And Bets, how about this? I thought the most appropriate thing about this video, recognize that song?
Yeah, Can't Help Falling in Love.
Can't Help Falling in Love. And what you're looking at there is a young boy falling in love with an instrument that hopefully will be a love affair that lasts a lifetime.
He is either going to play the violin or become an Elvis impersonator. Not sure which one. Totally possible it's a 50-50 shot. Update from just outside of Philadelphia. My sister texted me back from the basement. She said everything's good so far.
Good.
So, yeah, that's all remnants of Ida. We'll get everybody caught up on all that coming up at 6 on What Matters.
I know Big Sue is glad to hear that.
Yeah, Big Sue was texting me too.
That's his mom.
It's all good.
We're back tomorrow at 5. We invite you to join us then.
Russ and Laura take over now with What Matters Most.
Now at 6, quarantined from class.
We really saw it as what was needed to kind of hopefully put a reverse to this drastic stuff we saw going on.
A local school district is facing some tough decisions after a COVID exposure forces hundreds into isolation. Also, holiday warning.
We're looking right now at the same numbers we had in December and in January. That's frightening.
With a busy Labor Day travel weekend ahead, we'll tell you what top COVID experts want you to know. Pet store rescue. Dramatic body cam footage of the race to get animals trapped in a mall pet store fire out of harm's way. And